Hello, it's Raina with Lylo Crafts, and today we are going to turn book pages into zhuzhed up journal cards, right? Like, it is so much fun. I am 100% inspired by G. Kerr. So I'm going to talk you through this one, and then we'll do one together. And so here it is. This is a book page base. And then I went ahead and gessoed. Yes, oh my gosh, it's my first time using gesso on my own. So I went ahead and gessoed, and then I inked around the edges, and then I added this receipt. This is like a receipt back. And so I put that there, and this is a fussy cut flower. And then I went ahead and watercolored, yes, the shading, and by adding a little bit into the background here, and then also tying it in the top, adding a little bit of yellow. And then I topped that all off by adding not only the sentiment, but some little splatters to this, and I then stitched around the edges and inked. So several steps, but you can mass make these. You can do several at a time, which is what I am planning to do with you. And so, and then the back, I just backed with this retro graph paper. So you can see it has some nice patina to it. But I think these zhuzhed up journal cards are gorgeous. And this is the first part of my installment of the sunflower journal and the bee journals. And so I will be moving it to Monday of next week. But since I was announcing the winner yesterday, I thought I would go ahead and do it today, meaning there is going to be a giveaway. Yes, another giveaway with this. So if you missed out last time, you can jump on in this time. And to win the giveaway, you need to answer the question of the day. So I will be sharing that in just a little bit, but I wanted you to see the process of how I made this. So the first thing I did was glue 2 book pages together. I've already done that because you know how to glue. The next thing I did was I got my little gesso, and thank you so much, Dale. She shared her gesso with me. And then I just took my paintbrush and I lightly went on this. Now, you can make it super opaque if you want, but I wanted, where I made it that way in some places so that the watercolor would show, but mostly I wanted it opaque so you could tell that there was a book page going on behind that. So I went ahead and I painted up my book page with gesso, and then I hit it with my little heat gun. Again, thank you, Dale. And you don't have to use a heat gun. You can just wait for it to dry or use a hair dryer. But since I was impatient, I used this heat gun. So now what I did was I have several prepared where I went ahead and I just glued a little trim in the background, and I added this wonderful sunflower. I am just taking this watercolor pencil that I got from Hippie Crafter. I love these watercolor pencils. And all I'm going to do is just make an outline just around the flower. Okay, so let me just say, I am by no means an expert in using watercolor pencils, in shading, anything like that. I am definitely not an artist. I just was inspired by G. Kerr, and I thought, you know what, I want to try that. And it's so much fun. I really encourage you to try it too. And maybe if you see my little beginner part, it will encourage you that you can do it too. And if you're already an artist, wow, that's awesome. I so admire and look up to people who are, you know, can really draw and paint and create beautiful, beautiful things. Okay, so I have my little outline there. So the next thing I'm going to do is just take my watercolor brush, and I'm going to go ahead and go around all the outlines that I just did to soften it just a bit. Okay. Oh, I can't believe like how these watercolor pencils work so great with just a hint of water, you know, and you can make it as wide as you want or as narrow as you want. There's no exact science, and I think especially with watercolors, because they really soften up into that gesso, into your background. And this is just about adding additional depth to what you're creating. So the next thing I wanted to do was to maybe add a little bit of brown and green into this area over here. So I'm going to take that same brown and I'm just going to make a few swirls over here. Okay, and then I'm going to take some green, which I want to use this sagey green color, and okay, so let's see how this works. Now the beauty with watercolors is you can always add more, right? So let it dry, and if you don't like it, you can go back and always add more. Look at how it just softens that and just takes all those lines out. I just think that's so fun, right? Really fun. And now I'm just gonna soften the edges over here. And I think I'm gonna bring it up into this little area up here. Okay, but I do want to still leave some of the white as contrast. Now the other thing I want to do is maybe add in a little bit of yellow over here around the top of the flower. Okay, and I have like this goldy color. So I'm just gonna add just a little bit in over here and around here, and just like that. Okay, and take my little watercolor brush and just go in here and soften this out. Oh my gosh, I just love the way that looks when you put it all together. Oh, that is so cool. Oh my gosh, that's so cool. I love it. I love it. Okay, so now we need to let this dry. Okay, we're all dry now, and I want to pick out a sentiment for this. Okay, I like this one. This is beautiful. So I'm going to go ahead and cut this one out. All right, I think that looks so beautiful right there. So I'm just going to go ahead and take my glue and glue this down. Right there, just like that. Oh, I think this is gonna be such a beautiful journal card. Okay, so then the next thing I want to do is, since not everybody has a sewing machine, I'm gonna just take a fine tip marker and I am going to roughly draw a line around the edge. Actually, let me do a dashed line so it looks a little bit like stitching. And this is just a fine tip marker that I'm using here. Okay. Oh my gosh, I think that turned out so great. Oh, one last step. Let's add a little bit of these splatters. Now, I recently just hauled this little stamp set from Temu. So, I'm just gonna put this down here. Of course, you can use a stamp block, but I didn't get mine out, so I'm gonna put that like that. Oh. I mean, it's crazy to me how just adding something so simple can really add to your project. Okay, got these. I'm using a different splatter for here. Oh, love. L-O-V-E. Love, love, love. Okay, and I'm going to go on the flower and over. And even just a little bit here. Okay, look at that. there you have it. I love it. I-L-O-V-E it. Okay, so the question of the day, and you have to answer the question of the day in the comments below. Give the video a thumbs up and be a subscriber to my channel to be entered into the giveaway. And each one of these sunflower and bee journal entries, and I will just be doing it on Mondays. So you get one entry for every video that you comment and like and answer the question of the day. So the question of the day is, what is your favorite flower? Okay, please let me know what your favorite flower is. Okay, and if you would like to see me do one more, just hang on with me and we'll do one more together. Okay, this one is a little bit different in that it's got a little bit different coloring, right? So I am doing two different journals, a bee journal as well as a sunflower journal right now. And so the first thing I'm going to do is take this ephemera that I printed out on paper, and I'm going to just hit the edges with some vintage photo in case I had any of the white showing. So on this one, you can see right here, I added some seam binding just with glue. So I used my little fabric adhesive glue and then went ahead and glued that on down. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to put this sweet little beehive on. Okay. I'm using my fingers so I make sure I get that glue all the way to the edge. So please excuse my gluey fingers for this project. Okay, I'm gonna put that little beehive there. I just think that's so cute. Okay, and then I also cut out the word honey and I backed it on black cardstock because I wanted it to pop a little bit more. So I like that. And again, I'm gonna just glue this on down. Right. And these are little bees that I just punched out from the paper. So instead of fussy cutting them out, because I thought, oh, good night, that's going to be so hard to cut these tiny little bees out, I went ahead and used my tiny little circle puncher and thought they look so cute that way. I just punched them. And now I'm just going to add them around the beehive and on the honey sign. They're crawling on that. And here's another little bee going towards the hive. I'm going to move it up here. Okay. All right. So now what we need to do is add our shading again. And so I'm going to just shade a little bit behind, alongside and behind the feet. Okay. So over there too. Okay, just like that. Okay, and the other thing I'm going to do this time is, because it is brown, I'm going to try outlining in black and then hitting that with some watercolor. So I'm just taking my black watercolor marker and going around. And this, certainly you do not have to trace exactly on it. Remember that we're going to soften those lines with the water brush afterwards. So this is more about depth than it is about precision. Okay. All right. So there we go. All right. Now let's try it. Okay. Let's do our brown first. Oh, I love that. I love it. So tell me, have you guys tried this watercolor pencils? You know, I'd love to learn from you for sure, because I am such a beginner. Ooh, okay, there we go. I really am just a beginner. Okay. But I love this extra dimension that it is adding here. I definitely do. I think that's very sweet. All right. Okay. All right, I like it. I am liking it. Okay, so I do need something in the background, and I'm thinking just a hint of blue. So for the sky, so I'm gonna do just a hint of blue up here and on the side like that. Maybe a little bit there. Let's dry it so you can see it. All right, I'm loving it. I am definitely loving it. Okay, now the last part, which is to add the stamps, right? The little splitter splatter stamp. Okay. Right. Oh, so fun. Oh my gosh, it's so fun. And again, I'm just using vintage photo, but that's just because what I have. So just use whatever you have. You got regular brown ink, go for it. So, or if you prefer black, I think that would be awesome as well. Stamp a little bit of this coffee ring over here in that corner. Okay, oh my gosh, very, very cool. And then, so next I'm going to clip these corners, just like this. And you know, none of these things are required, but I think every tiny little thing that you add can really zhuzh this up. It really helps take your cards to the next level. And so I'm using black soot right here on the edging because everything is brown. And so if I want it to stand out, I've got to add a little bit of black. Oh, look at that. I mean, I think it's just transformed. I am in love. Okay, so I took it to the sewing machine and I went around the edge with brown. And I think this is such a cool project. So I hope that you like these zhuzhed up journal cards. And don't forget to answer the question of the day in the comments before you head on out to be entered into the giveaway. So thank you so much for spending time with me today. And I hope you have an amazing day. Bye-bye.